politics. Joe Biden going in and being like, fire the prosecutor or you're not getting the $1 billion. Joe Biden should be in prison for that. But, you know, I think Russia's wrong to invade.
It seems like the liberal economic order is the Borg and that the Russian Federation is the Klingons. Like, they're just brute force.
Yeah, the Russian soft power, like, really is pitiful compared to the U.S. All these myths about, you know, the KGB and their, you know, insane covert abilities. I mean, they weren't able to stop a coup happening on a country right in their border. U.S. soft power really is.
It's really painful streaming without like good music. I wonder if this gets copywritten. Can this thing shit stop? Please. I'm never gonna take it the way I did with you. And I'm never gonna take again. The way I did with you. Monica.
ner från början. Precis som utan i tornet till Pisa. Men tornet stannar än idag. Och här står du och här står jag. Känns som man
Is unparalleled.
Fine, people will be mad at me.
Do I get a
Now,
copyright
guys
strike if I
in
watch
Suffolk
this?
were like, I literally don't care what anyone else thinks. My tribe must win. When you have two distinct political factions, and within those umbrellas you have many different ideologies, like libertarian and conservative are kind of in the same space, but they really don't agree with each other, just like progressives and neolibs don't, but they're in the same space. What happens is, we had one United States, and a Republican would be like, I can't do that because Democrats, you know, I'm going to get all the flack from my colleagues in Congress. That one goes too far. Nowadays, it's basically come to the point where left and right says, I do not care at all what the right thinks. The left must get this thing. So the attitude now with cancel culture. Ethan Klein, really great example, H3H3. He makes an offensive statement. He apologizes to his fans. We all laugh and be like, look what you have to do. But to him, he's like, I don't care about what the right thinks because the right's not paying my bills. So I'll apologize if I have to. That's where we're at right now. Ethan can come out and accuse anyone on the right of being anything, and there's zero damage he will face. We had a detransitioner on the show yesterday, and I'm like, I'm sure a bunch of activists are going to come and scream in my face, but they have zero impact on my work or my show, so why should I care? And that means when the boomers are gone, there's going to be two distinct political realities in this country.
You said that there's one United States. I see 50 United States. And the reason we have 50 states is because just in case a political faction attempts to seize power at the federal level, the states have total recourse to resist that.
And that means civil war.
Or it just means a revolution.
No, because California will not tolerate a Republican revolution. If the right goes in the federal government, takes over, California says no.
I don't think it has to be a political revolution, a technological revolution. A revolution of states.
The issue with this is, you know, Republicans, conservatives will always say federalism will solve everything. That we should push things back to the states. But I do think, you know, it's important to know who our enemy is here. And to Tim's point, I mean, these are people who think that the ends are always justified. And so, you know, why would California listen to, you know, something?
I'll take a different view here. I think the most important war is the information war. And the reason why these divides are happening is because the media has gone so far to the left that it's creating this alternative reality.
Yes, but well,
I
disagree a little bit. I think social media created a generation living in a broken, fractured world where there is no truth but power, and then they got jobs in media, and now the New York Times is being worn as a skin suit, as is the Washington Post. I mean, look,
yeah, it was
I've
kids
got
using Facebook when they were 14 and they figured out how to go viral. Now they're working in the now they're at the New York Times.
Sort of. It was news organizations funded by venture capital who found the fastest path towards making money was rage bait. And so you ended up with websites like Mike.com, which initially started as Ron Paul supporting and then went woke because they were like, this stuff works. You know what doesn't work for the right? What worked for the right was anti-SJW. We don't like the things they're doing.
A little hungry now. I wonder, does that give me like banned? Ads.
Read the manifest located in the spaceport admin office. We can track down the supplies.
Gamblers only.
mineral mania. Ore deposits.
Jesse, like, look at the list. Like,
I can hear you in game, dumbass.
Seraph rounds actually kicks it up a little higher, 19 points.
What's the god roll? I don't know. I want perpetual motion focus fury or perpetual motion swash. That's what I want, bro. Are you fucking kidding me?
So fast.
Dude, like, this is so dumb. Brute, bro. I'm just getting shit on this game, boys.
Just constantly checking that thing's
Getting
health.
shit on by Lorelli Titans. Like, there's so many on the other team. Bro, what is this game? I couldn't even like whip out my shotgun because I got slowed.
Oh.
Okay, I'm just leaving this game, boys. This is a wild lobby. Oh, my ticket for GCX. Let's go, Crazy Gamer. I got my creator pass last week, brother.
Eh.
Yo,
That's a
Castle,
sick ship.
How you doing? Gotta keep the checkpoint. I logged in as a secondary character, but didn't get it.
I'm actually curious.
No, Mike, you
Let me
can't,
try
like,
something.
You can't get the checkpoint on one character and then have it on the other character. You have the checkpoint on that character. You know what I'm saying? You need someone else to hold the checkpoint for you while you swap characters. Maybe Lyft, probably not Lyft, Crazy Gamer, because it's like a vacation, and I'll be like with my girlfriend. And
Why
like,
won't it
guys
update here?
from, like Primal and stuff. So I probably won't do a Lyft, but I'm down to like see you at the expo and stuff, homie. I wish we could Lyft. I just probably won't be able to. Gonna make food? Okay, Brick. Sounds good, homie. Yeah, there's food everywhere, bro. I'm hyped. Anytime. I don't even know what to expect at GCX, bro. I heard they do, like, play tests and stuff for Bungie sometimes. That could be cool. I'm streaming. Dude, there's some crazy new farm for the SMG. It's like hella free. What? Oh yeah, I've been doing it. I'm probably not going to stream for super long though, so we can do it tonight at some point. I've been streaming for like 2.5 hours already. Yeah, that's what I was doing. I got, bro, 20 SMGs, not a single one. Not a single. But like, it's pretty free though. You don't even need laurels. Like, the platinum only guarantees one. But like, bro, I get like 4 from the silver.
That 9-bang or whatever, that 9-barrel thing.
Shocker, Shroud's doing nothing?
You can play Falco because he's like more of a hiccup character. My Fox only moves, so if I like lose a step, I like just get stuck. I don't like it. Cody didn't want it earlier. If somebody didn't want it, where's Zane? Zane hasn't played Gary Mango. He played the night before Mango. He don't want it. What's up, Buns? You out of there?
Yeah, I guess so.
Okay, that was one of the dumbest things I've ever done. No offense to Chelsea.
Oh my god.
Leave Cody alone. Of course. leave Cody alone.
Settings.
So many ads, dude. So many ads.
And it was really difficult. It was a really difficult time in our relationship.
So you decided that you wanted to get testosterone treatment. How did you go about obtaining the testosterone?
Yeah, so it's actually pretty ironic because at the time I had these beliefs where it's like, oh, we live in such a transphobic society, it's going to be so hard to get testosterone. But once I actually went through it, it was incredibly easy. I just made an appointment at a Planned Parenthood, and I went there, and it was one about hour-long appointment. I talked to a social worker for maybe 20 minutes, and then I talked to a nurse practitioner for another maybe 20 minutes, and then they like cleared me for everything and helped me do my first injection.
So there was no actual medical diagnosis of gender dysphoria. There was no actual psychological screening or anything like that. You basically walked in, you said you wanted testosterone, they gave it to you.
Yeah, and again, ironically, they diagnosed me with an endocrine disorder. They didn't even diagnose me with gender dysphoria. On my medical records, it says I have a diagnosis of an endocrine disorder, and that's why I needed the testosterone. So, yeah, very, very strange. But no psychological evaluation or diagnosis of gender dysphoria or anything, just kind of like walked in.
Okay, so you started off taking the testosterone, and was it relatively low dosage or high dosage, and what effect did it have on you?
Yeah, so another interesting part of this story is that when I sat down with that nurse.
If I've never been depressed and I see someone who is depressed and acting this way, what I'm gonna think is like, if I were acting that way, what would be going on inside me? It's like, I'm very depressed for 48 hours, but then if I go to a party, I'm having the time of my life and I feel fantastic. And the devastating thing about depression, more so than any other illness, is that it attacks your ability to fight back. If someone's really doesn't have a neurochemical depression, and like I start prescribing a bunch of medication, like I'm actually doing more harm than good, right? Because they're not gonna get any benefit from it. They're gonna suffer from side effects. They may do things like gain weight, have, sexual side effects and stuff like that. I'm actually doing them harm. So it's important to understand this.
You really think they're depressed? I mean, they walk around all day long, arguing, getting mad, yelling, cursing me out. He just gets to walk around and act like a jerk all day. It's just unbelievable. Seems like he just wants things handed to him. He expects people to just jump and do whatever he wants. I don't get it. Sleeps all day, he's up all night, he eats what he wants, total junk food, can't lift a pencil to do his schoolwork. I mean, it's just unbelievable. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. He's depressed. And that's what happens when you're depressed. You don't just get sad and down, you also get irritable and angry. Imagine living your life completely cut off from feelings like contentment, satisfaction, happiness, excitement, when all you can feel is irritation, anger, agitation, and nothing brings you relief. That's depression. And I know you got a lot of degrees and everything, but I don't know.
What is
I think
this?
this is like a great representation of, and this guy's a psychologist, by the way. So like, I think it's a great representation of how hard it is for people who haven't experienced depression to understand depression. So what you see on the outside is the behaviors, right? And then what we naturally do when we see a behavior as human beings is we attribute our own experiences and internal environments and motivation to that behavior. And so that's what we assume the other person is thinking. So if they were like, if I've never been depressed and I see someone who is depressed and acting this way, what I'm gonna think is like, if I were so this is kind of, so this is kind of it captures very, very, that makes me think about this stuff. So this is kind of, it captures very, 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 very quickly one of the biggest problems with depression. So internally, I made this connection. I don't really share it publicly because I think it comes with connotations that are probably not good to share. But when I was
training to become a psychiatrist, I realized one day, in my mind, I made this connection that depression is almost the HIV of mental illness. Now, there's a lot of things that are problematic with that comparison, so don't hold me to that, but here's the connection.
Yes.
Which is like my neurons form this thing.
That's funny. I like that.
So the reason that HIV is so devastating is because it attacks your ability to fight back. And the devastating thing about depression, more so than any other illness, is that it attacks your ability to fight back. Right? So like it's one.
A war has been going on for billions of years that breeds well-armed monsters who struggle with other monsters.
Oh, that's sick. I love ads. Yeah. I love a non-skippable 30-second ad, baby. Oh, Star Wars.
Oh man, no, there's guys below me. Alright, I'm gonna go. Yeah, looks like we have 2 teams.
Oh, what do you know? She's playing with a woman.
One of the best Luigi players in Arizona, and he was underage and he drank a lot, and then it was one of his first times I think drinking that much, and he just threw up everywhere on the floor. And Nick, again, he doesn't drink, he never drinks, so he's always the sober guy, and everyone just gets fucked up. It's a trap house basically. Everyone's either high or drunk, and Nick's sober every time, so he just like comes out and he's like a sim and he's like, oh, oh, what am I doing? Oh,
Dude, yeah. And this is some extra context. This is off the back of like, I'm very pissed off because we had just deep cleaned the entire house for the one time of year we actually do that.
Yeah.
And then it was like, it's like in the movies when it's like, all clean, and then a fucking bull comes in the house and kicks everything over.
It's like Mother. It's
yes, I was the
and Nick is Jennifer Lawrence.
I was Jennifer Lawrence and Mother, and I'm just like, guys, let's just keep everything clean. They're like, yeah, we got it. I turn around, turn back, and they're fucking pissing on the wall and shitting
don't
everywhere.
Sit on that. Don't sit on the sink.
Yeah, and then I look over and they're just back sitting on the sink. It was literally like
there were like parties, like every other week, or just even like Smash gatherings.
It was okay.
It
was Smash Fest.
There was a lot of traffic.
But there was a lot of people who just like lived in the area who like played Smash, but their friends didn't. And they would invite them, and there would just be
dude. Some of those guys, bro.
Some of those guys. Oh, I'll never fucking forget Roy, because he'll never watch this. I'll never fucking forget Roy. And it was crazy because I was like, hey, there's a character in this video game we're playing. It's your name, and he was like, whoa, dude, that's crazy. At some point,
tell him what Roy kept saying.
I'm sitting on this couch next to Roy. Roy does not play Super Smash Brothers, but everyone around him does. So he's sitting there, baked out of his fucking mind, just watching us play, telling miscellaneous stories that are all terrible. I can't remember to this day what exactly he said, but he made some sort of joke that was like homoerotic, some like homoerotic joke. And then he goes, oh, but I'm not gay, guys. He's looking around, and I'm like just playing Melee. I'm not even listening to his story. I'm like, oh, that's fine. Like, even if you are, I don't care, whatever. He's like, I'm not. And he's like tapping my leg. He's like, I swear, dude, I swear.
I'm not, bro, I'm not.
And I'm like, that's a Kyle Mooney. Yes. Literally, he's literally like every Kyle character. And I'm like, dude, if you are, I don't.
What?
Seriously.
Me?
I'm like,
no, dude, I've never.
And at the time,
bro, I've never sucked anything.
That's so funny.
A war has been going on for billions of years that breeds well-armed monsters who struggle with other monsters for survival. Having no particular interest in us, most of them are relatively harmless, as our immune systems deal with their weapons easily. But there are exceptions. Naglaria fowleri is an amoeba that has not only developed a deadly taste for human brains, but is also a match for our defenses and stars in dramatic headlines. What happens when this monster enters your body? Naglaria fowleri is an amoeba, a microbe with a nucleus, one of the smallest life forms on Earth. It is a voracious hunter of bacteria and other critters that it devours whole and rips into pieces. Like many amoebae, it is able to transform into different stages that help it survive. But most of the time, Naglaria fowleri is in its trophozoite stage, during which it looks like a squishy blob with tiny arms, and hunts, divides, and thrives. Its natural home is in fresh water, ponds, rivers, lakes, and hot springs. But, unfortunately, it also feels happy in pipes, swimming pools, fountains, or spas when they're not properly treated. The warmer the water, the more it thrives and multiplies. So in the summer, when humans seek to cool off and enjoy themselves, the chances are highest that both species will interact. Because this makes it hard to avoid, millions of people regularly have contact with the amoeba, especially in warmer climates, and many people even seem to have antibodies against it. And this is mostly okay. You can even swallow it without consequences. Things turn bad when people dive or swim in water contaminated with the amoeba and water splashes high up into their noses. In a single drop of lake water, there are millions of viruses, bacteria, and amoebae, and that isn't really a big deal. But Naglaria fowleri is different. Let's zoom into the nose of an unsuspecting victim enjoying a great summer day and see what happens. First of all, the amoeba doesn't really want to be inside your nose, as it's not really looking for trouble. It just wants to eat a few bacteria. Instead, it's greeted by your natural defenses. Unfortunately for humans, Naglaria fowleri happens to be exceptionally good at generally flying under the radar of your immune system. For example, the inside of your nose is covered by mucosa, a slime filled with chemicals that kill or stun possible invaders or alert immune cells. But Naglaria fowleri is not particularly bothered by them, and instead calmly checks out the scenery, mildly annoyed about the whole ordeal. Now, if you are unlucky, the tiny critter stumbles over something that actually sparks its interest: nerve cells. Your nose is filled with a large network of olfactory nerve cells that pick up molecules from the outside and transmit their information to your olfactory bulb, the center of smell in your brain. To do their job, these cells talk to each other by releasing various messenger chemicals and recognizing them via specific receptors. One of the most important of these chemicals is acetylcholine. Through sheer evolutionary bad luck, Naglaria fowleri happens to have receptors that recognize acetylcholine, and it seems to attract them irresistibly, a little like moths that are attracted by light. So as your olfactory nerve cells do their job, using plenty of acetylcholine to talk to the brain, Naglaria fowleri enters your tissue. It seems to follow the chemical signals upstream. Neutrophils, crazy suicide warriors, begin to attack the amoebae. Individually, they have no chance against them, as the invaders are large and pretty buff fighters, used to dealing with tough enemies. So the defenders swarm the intruders and kill them either by vomiting chemicals that punch holes into them, or by literally ripping parts of them off and devouring them. But the Naglaria fowleri train is still on track, and while the neutrophil attacks slow them down, they continue to follow the olfactory nerves to their final destination, your brain. This process can take between 1 and 9 days, and you'll probably not notice anything during that time, until the amoebae reach the olfactory bulb, the center of smell and entrance to your brain. Your brain cells are nothing more than helpless victims, and they all release that wonderful acetylcholine. Naglaria fowleri initiates a massacre and releases an onslaught of various attack molecules. Some of them are basically little bombs that rip holes into your cells on contact so their pieces can be eagerly consumed. But Naglaria fowleri is now multiplying, and it's also becoming really creepy. In a feeding frenzy, it can develop up to a dozen suckers called food cups that look like giant, eerie mouths. The amoebae engage your brain cells, suck them in, and rip large bites out of them while they're still alive. Now things escalate quickly, and the disease that will kill you sets in. Alerted by the massacre, millions of immune cells, neutrophils, eosinophils, and microglias invade the infected tissue. Which is a problem. Your immune system is dangerous and not exactly a careful fighter. It's like burning down a forest to kill the wolves inside it. A really bad idea in the brain. They waste no time and attack the amoeba, using all the weapons available to them, from chemicals to trying to eat them alive. Neutrophils explode themselves to erect barriers spiked with deadly chemicals. A fierce battle ensues, Naegleria fowleri can actually fight back, itself attacking and killing many immune cells. The immune system now throws everything it has at the invader, but in vain. The complement system, tiny protein bombs that can kill intruders on their own, are easily disabled. Antibodies, usually one of your super weapons, are just destroyed or swallowed. A high fever that usually slows enemies down does.
Oh, I went for the greediest down air both times. We're up air. Owned, how you doing? Yeah, I feel like I remembered a lot of my Sheik shit.
You can't watch anything on fucking YouTube, dude. So much for that.
Sometimes you gotta do bad double lasers every time Go does that. Twice with the 77.
Forget it.
Not what I wanted. Maybe it was. Lol, man, thanks. Dude, Logos, were you in Cody's chat when Cody just like kept forward being and surviving, and then he finally clipped me with one and then zeroed it?
That's so loud.
Chat was like, oh my god, so cracked. Like, you guys are so fucking fox-filled. Gamma waves, thanks. And then I did the nastiest zero to death next talk and nobody said anything. It's like, fuck all of you. You guys are so fucking fox-filled. All he did was fucking clip me with the forward B. And then I got zero to death. I was like, oh, you guys are fucking annoying. Tasty white boy fucks. You would fucking get a ticket. Fuck it! Oh, that's good. That forwarder was better though. Gamma, thanks man. Lol man.
One of the best Luigi players in Arizona.
Really? I think
And,
it's hard.
Literally like that.
To play Sheik in friendlies for an extended period of time.
It's creamy, it's dazzled. So on trend. Huh. Must have missed that.
Delightful. We got 10 squads left.
Plays Horizon, huh? Horizon Demon, maybe?
Would you like an archery? Did I just go back and get my loot? Probably.
Got the stiff on him? On fuse. Time to light a fuse. Instant lock bloodhound. You can just go next, boy. We got a Pathfinder in here. It's time for an actual fun game.
There were like parties, like every other week, or just even like Smash gatherings.
It was
all-
okay. It was
most
Smash
frustrating.
Fest.
There was a lot of traffic.
But there was a lot of people who just like lived in the area who like played Smash, but their friends didn't, and they would invite them, and there would just be
Dude, some of those guys, bro.
Some of those guys. Oh, I'll never fucking forget Roy, because he'll never watch this. I'll never fucking forget Roy.
Why do I get Jump
I
Master?
was like, hey, it's
First
American
game.
video game we're playing.
Reckon we crash land this puppy there.
I reckon we don't. What do you say? Enemy spotted. We're fucking dead, mate. Yoink. Team next to us. That's fine. And for 55 flesh. I just had white armor. Eh. Ew. stepped on his head. -6? Go fuck off. I'm confused how this works though.